Today was another Oversight Committee hearing, so of course we had a moment where the chairman, James Comer, the Republican, was completely embarrassed by the Democratic co-chair, Jamie Raskin, who is just head and shoulders more intelligent and eloquent than Comer. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video to share it with your friends. My name is Brendan Plank. Nice to meet you. Let's get in to Jamie Raskin making a fool out of James Comer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make 3 points in closing. The first is that Americans want the EPA to be doing more to stop climate change, not less. And yet, we heard from a number of our colleagues on the GOP side today, as well as from Project 2025, that EPA's rules are hurting Americans. But that's not the perspective most Americans have. Most Americans want the EPA to be doing more. We have a philosophical difference or a scientific difference. We believe that climate change is real and is a dagger pointed at the throat of humanity. And too many of our colleagues agree with the erudite gentlelady from Georgia who calls climate scientists and most Americans, by extension, climate cultists. We heard it twice from her today. Well, if there are brainwashed cultists on the issue, it is the people who are following the conspiracy theories of QAnon and assert that scientists like Dr. Fauci are trying to invent diseases. That's where the cultists come in. Secondly, a number of our colleagues wanted to lecture you, Administrator Regan, about the role of agencies, which are, of course, indispensable in implementing the will of Congress. That's why Congress set up the EPA. That's why Congress set up the National Labor Relations Board. That's why Congress set up the Department of Justice. And our colleagues have no problem using those agencies to get the things done they want to do. If you read their Project 2025, they want the President of the United States to be able to use the Department of Justice for the first time in American history to go after his political opponents. And to oh, well, if you disagree with that, then I'm delighted to hear it, Mr. Chairman.
Which Department of Justice going after political opponents? The Merrick Garland Department of Justice or the
Well, let's
next
see.
Department?
There's a case right now against the Democratic senator from New Jersey, Mr. Menendez. There's a case right now against a Democratic congressman from Texas.
I see a pattern with Democrats.
And well, wait a second. No, don't be too clever. You're a smart man, but try to follow a principled argument. You just claimed that the Department of Justice was somehow biased against Republicans, and I'm naming you cases where the DOJ is going after Democrats. Your problem is the jury system in New York, which found unanimously that Donald Trump was guilty of 34 criminal felonies. That's got nothing to do with the Department of Justice.
Well, when the Department of Justice sends the number 3 guy down there to prosecute the case on behalf of the...
Which case are you referring to?
The Trump case that you just referred to.
You're talking about the one, the District Attorney Bragg's case in New York?
The number 3 guy went down to
Okay.
New York.
All right, well, we'll have to take that up at another point, but I'm talking to you about what President Trump, former President Trump, says he wants to do. And if you think it's outrageous, then I am delighted to hear it, that he would use the Department of Justice.
No, I just thought it was outrageous you saying the Department of Justice under Trump was going to be weaponized when we believe that this Department of Justice has been pretty darn weaponized.
Well, what is the proof of that? I just named you 3 cases where the Department of Justice is going after Democrats. And I mean, that's a very serious slur against the Department of Justice and the Attorney General.
I stand by that.
You stand by your slur then. Well, I would love us to have a complete hearing then on whether or not it's true, because I think it's wrong. And in fact, really, it's just setting the stage for Donald Trump to try to use the Department of Justice as an instrument of persecution against his political opponents, real or imagined.
Well, we don't know if Donald Trump's going to be president or not. Are you throwing in the towel, Mr. Raskin?
No. I certainly hope he doesn't try to steal the election the way he did last time. And I hope we'll be prepared this time.
So you're an election denier, Mr. Raskin.
Oh, no. I don't deny it. I affirm that Joe Biden beat him by more than 7 million votes, 306 to 232 in the Electoral College. We know that happened. And yet, I hope you're not an insurrection denier, because you were there with me that day when they came in chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." Do you remember that?
I remember January the 6th.
You remember them chanting, "Hang Mike Pence"? Them trying to overthrow the election?
Unlike you, I have never not voted to certify an election.
I'm sorry?
Didn't you vote to not certify the 2016 election?
The 2016 election, I simply spoke against irregularities in it. I didn't try to overthrow the government of the United States. I didn't try to get the vice president not to do his job, and I didn't even go to a senator. But in
I've
any
always
event-
voted to certify elections. I just want to state that for the record.
So, okay, so then you would agree then that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election?
I
Did you say
voted. I
that?
voted to certify the election. I've said that a million times. When the 50
Did
states,
you say once that Donald Trump lost the election?
I have said that. When the 50 states certified the election was over. Now we've gone
Okay,
over. Do you
then-
want to
well, then we
conclude? Let's
agree.
get off of this. Is a good EPA.
I will.
here.
No, I don't mind the diversion, Mr. Chairman. But let me just say this: on the question of agencies in America, let's be clear about what the Supreme Court did. What the Supreme Court said was, of course, the agencies can adopt rules and regulations. My friend from Colorado was really mistaken about that. The agencies, even under their terrible ruling, can continue to adopt and promulgate regulations and rules under the notice and comment process we have. But the Supreme Court then, in this amazing power grab, arrogated to itself the power to determine whether or not an ambiguous or silent statute should be interpreted this way or that. So it was a political power grab by the court. That's all that they did. But Administrator Regan is doing his job. The EPA is doing its job. The NLRB is doing its job. The Department of Justice is doing the job. They've got to adopt rules. The Congress told them to. So that was a power grab by the court against the Congress of the United States. Now, what's interesting about Chevron is that was a 6-0 decision that the conservatives supported because it was giving Reagan administration era agency bureaucrats the right to revisit the way that statutes were being interpreted from the 1970s. They pushed for it then. Now they're saying they don't want the agencies to have that power. In any event, the people of America want you to have the power to have muscular enforcement of our rules for clean air, clean water, and clean climate. I yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Our processors and our farmers tell us this is going to have a significant impact on the cost of food. And we're talking about chicken McNuggets at McDonald's. We're talking about chicken at Chick-fil-A and things like that. The average working class Americans go through the drive-through after work and
Mr.
order.
Chairman, forgive me, do you know what the cost of 10-piece chicken McNuggets is today?
Well, I buy a lot of chicken nugget meals.
It's under $5. It's $4.49 at the closest one you can get here. I mean, and Impossible Nuggets are even less.
So there's no inflation at McDonald's, Mr. Raskin. I would say I spend more money at McDonald's than any person in Congress, and I'll stand by that. I'll testify under oath.
Well,
my 3 kids.
We certainly don't mean to bankrupt you with our environmental regulations when you go to McDonald's.
You know who Jamie Raskin didn't bring up there was Hunter Biden, who was indicted by the, corrupt attorney general who these Republicans love to say is doing the bidding of Joe Biden. Yeah, that makes complete sense. The president has the attorney general go after his son. Right, Republican Party, right. But this brings up what's going to happen over the next few months and beyond, too, with this Republican Party, is they're just going to come up with these one-liners. Oh, the one guy who was brought down there from the Department of Justice, you know who I'm talking about. Oh, if James Comer was talking to other Republicans, it would be, oh, yeah, we know. Oh, it's all corrupt. But when you actually go up against someone who knows what they're talking about, and Jamie Raskin, it's, oh, what are you talking about? You wanna elaborate? Oh, well, we shouldn't talk about this right now. And when the American people go to vote in November and they see moments like this, and they see that the Republican Party is just made up of one-liners, they are going to absolutely reject them. And the Democrats are going to easily come in and sweep through the House of Representatives. But I want to know what your predictions are for November. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, everybody's talking about Joe. Everybody's talking about politics. We are in the dog days of the political summer. So let me know what your reflections are down in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.